Okay, folks, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the zoning committee meeting for Wednesday, January 26, 2022 to order. Agnes, can you please call the roll? Here.
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 Here. Here. Okay, thank you. Also, in addition, we have, let me just turn around. We have Counselor Dan Garvey. We have, from the planning department, we have Lee. And we also, okay, that's right, Gary, you're part of the team. Okay. Counselor Flam is here. And let's see, we have Captain Sternberg. We have Agnes from the City Council office, and we have Scott from IT. Okay. In compliance with the open meeting law, the meeting is both being audio and video recorded. If anyone else in the audience is either audio or video recording, if so, please state your name and the reason for recording. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Just some housekeeping procedures. When speaking regarding public input comments, please address the chair, myself. Please state your name and address when speaking. Limit your input to 3 minutes or less. There'll be no discussions on collective bargaining issues, personalities, or personal attacks. Okay, I think we're ready to start then. Looks like everybody's here. And it looks like we also have Mr. Wagner from the school committee where he just came in. Okay, item number one, this is an application for a special permit under chapter 275, section 50, subsection A1C, for the purpose of maintaining pre-existing signage as a pre-existing non-accessory sign billboard located at 0 Memorial Drive, parcel ID 0341-0004B. The applicant is Panini Properties, Mass. LLC, Attorney John Drost, 1500 Main Street, Suite 2312, Springfield, Mass. 01115. Is the applicant here? I think they're on Zoom.
Correct.
John, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh, well, this is, okay. Okay, this is good. Okay. All right, go ahead, sir. Please state your name and address and
Sure.
what your proposal is. Okay.
Okay, my name is John Drost. I'm an attorney with Fitzgerald Law. We have offices in East Long Meadow and in Springfield. And I'm here representing Panini Properties, MA, LLC. They're an affiliate of Hot Table. And with me here is John DeVoy. He's also on Zoom as well. John's one of the founders of Hot Table.
Okay.
Our client is proposing, or they have a prospective purchaser of property on Memorial Drive in Chicopee. And we're here to ask the city council to allow a pre-existing sign as a pre-existing non-accessory sign. And we refer to quality in sign. The parcel my client is buying is like a flag, and the driveway comes in from Memorial Drive. It's thin, and then it expands to a regular size lot. And building the restaurant on the regular size lot, but on the entrance, there's a little portion of land that there's always a sign for the hotel that's on the lot behind our property or property. And my client, as I mentioned, he's building a freestanding restaurant. It went through the Chicopee Planning Board back in August, and the Planning Board conditioned the approval on sort of items related to the sign, either remove the sign, get it acknowledged as a existing non-conforming sign by the city council. And that's why we're here.
Okay.
Our client and the seller has a current arrangement with the Quality Inn owner to keep the sign there. And in fact, there's been an agreement in place since 1974 for the owner of this property to allow a sign to be there for the hotel. And we're just asking for the council to acknowledge it as a pre-existing non-conforming use. And once we can get this approval, we can purchase the property and start building a hot table restaurant.
Okay. All right, okay, thank you. Thank you for your remarks. We have another John here. John, if you could state your name and address, please, and tell us what your proposal is. I'm sure it mirrors pretty much what council just said, but go ahead, sir.
Well said. My name is Christopher Carney. I work as a land surveyor and civil engineer over at R. Levesque Associates at 40 School Street in Westfield. I'm here tonight on behalf of Panini Properties LLC to request the special permit for the pre-existing non-conforming sign and the reuse of that sign. As previously mentioned, this project was permitted back in August by the planning board, and as part of the conditions, they're requiring this special permit for the sign. Specifically, we're looking for waivers of section 27550A, which is distance to a church. This sign is located approximately 420 feet from the existing church, the New England Christian Center. The ordinance requires a 1,500-foot separation. The next waiver we'd be seeking is at 275-50A, 1G, 1B. Billboard may not be located within 500 feet of residentially zoned land. There is a parcel down this way that's residentially zoned. I believe the border of the property is within that required 500-foot distance, but the actual sign location is beyond that 500-foot distance. But regardless, we're going to request that waiver just out of safety. And then the third waiver we'd be requesting is for section 27550A for business A districts. This is the location of the sign. We're not proposing to move the location of the existing sign, just reuse the existing location. That sign has a center post right here, which is 7.5 feet from the sideline, and 19.7 feet from Memorial Drive. Your ordinance requires 25-foot setback from the street, so we're seeking waiver for that.
Okay.
But again, this is a reuse of an existing sign. Per your bylaws, there's been no traffic or issues with the current location.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right, thank you. I want to talk to council for a second because there's a little problem here regarding, I believe the applicant was also informed. There was a problem with putting the legal notice in the paper. And what happened was there was a snafu with the address. Instead of referencing this as the subject of 0 Memorial Drive, it was referenced as 0 Montgomery Street. So we have an issue there. So I'm just going to talk to council for a minute. Excuse me, for a sign there.
Right, so unfortunately, what we have to do is
We have council speaking to a microphone.
Hold on,
Hold on a second, Joel. Dan's coming over to just put some legal spin on this, please.
Thank you. It'd be helpful to me and the applicant who needs to hear him.
Yep, go ahead, Dan.
Unfortunately, when we advertised, as Councilor Balakir had mentioned, we advertised it incorrectly. We advertised it as 0 Montgomery Street, when in fact it should have been 0 Memorial Drive. We have re-advertised for our February third meeting at 6:30, so although we can take comments about it.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Dan, but we can't hear you because of the paper.
Paper is
Very sensitive.
So the bottom line is, unfortunately, we advertised as 0 Montgomery Street when the address is actually 0 Memorial Drive. So we have re-advertised the correct address, so although we can take comments tonight, unfortunately, the council can't take official action until our February 23rd meeting at 6:30.
Okay, all right, Dan. One other question, does it behoove us to read the committee reports at this point?
Sure.
Or does it, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, okay. So let me read some committee reports that we have received into the record. Okay. Okay. This is from the Department of Planning and Development. This is regarding the special permit recommendation for Zero Memorial Drive. Counselor Balakir, property zone business A, billboards and non-accessory signs shall be governed by special permit under Chapter 275, Section 50, subsection A1C. Applicant is looking to obtain a special permit for the purpose of maintaining a pre-existing off-premise non-accessory sign. Erected in 1974 before the enactment of the City of Chicopee zoning ordinance and respective sign regulations, the pre-existing sign is legally non-conforming until the parcel is developed with its new use, i.e. hot table, with its own signage. With the installation of hot tables signage, the pre-existing signage would lose its status, which triggers the special permit requirement. Planning sees no issue with the current sign, and planning recommends approval of the special permit. We also have a comment, actually from the fire department, but there's nothing that's referenced here. Engineering department, no engineering department comments. We do have a notice from the collectors in the treasurer's office. Apparently, the owner, Synergic Solutions from Chelmsford, Mass, has real estate taxes in arrears of $9,261.08. So that is a problem. That would have to be paid before we moved on with this. But as council mentioned before, because of the legal snafu that we have here, I've been advised to recommend that we have a motion to continue this presentation or this item until next month of February 23rd. So that is going to be what legal recommends at this point.
I'll make the motion to continue it until February,
Okay?
the next zoning subcommittee meeting. Thank you.
Okay?
Question on this, though.
Go ahead.
Is the attorney or this gentleman, can they come in with a check right away? Which would not have to wait till February to get going? I'm just asking, I don't know.
Well, I think that would be helpful, but Dan, maybe you could just, maybe you could just shed some light on that.
Yeah, I mean, the outstanding tax bill would have to be paid before the council to take a formal vote. That formal vote will not come until Tuesday in March.
Okay,
It just has to be paid out before that meeting.
Okay,
okay,
all right.
all right.
Any other questions before I just write down the
Mr. Chairman, I just have one question. With regards to the scheduling issue in the newspaper, was that a mistake by us or the applicant?
That was a mistake by our office.
Okay, so I just want to extend our apologies to the applicant for the error, and we certainly will be on top of this.
Okay, all right, okay.
Mr. Chairman, is there anybody here for public input
Oh,
on this one?
I'm sorry, I didn't mention that just because of what we're going through.
There's no.
Oh, okay, all right.
February what, George? February what?
February 23rd, okay.
Okay, thank you.
So this is motion to postpone.
One more question, George. I have one more question.
Okay.
If it's okay.
Sure.
Either Lee maybe can answer it, or our attorney. And it's just a minor thing that I'm observing in that. Zero Memorial Drive, we thought was Montgomery Street, which is incorrect. I understand that. So when you go north on the highway, it says that this property is at 0 Memorial Drive, right?
Correct. So any parcel in the city that is not developed is assigned 0. So there could be a 0, there could be multiple 0 Memorial Drive. That's why we also include the parcel ID on the application.
All right, so Peon Pontiac is before this. What number is Peon Pontiac? Is that
I have a lot of
0?
things memorized.
Is that 0 too?
Addresses are not one of them.
I know, but I mean, it's just a small technicality. What's Peon's number? Why is that 0? Peon's before it.
It doesn't matter. So you could have
Oh,
55 and then 57, and there could be a parcel between that, and if it's undeveloped, it'll be 0 until a building is constructed there.
But Peon is developed. They've been there for years.
Correct, so they have a numerical address that I just don't know what it is.
Oh, but the other one is grandfathered in. Okay. All right, I understand. Okay.
Okay.
Engineering only assigns a numerical address to a parcel once a building is permitted for construction.
Okay, all right, I understand now. Thank you.
Okay.
What is it?
333.
333.
Okay, so if you gentlemen, just wait a minute, we're just gonna sign off on this, and then we'll redo, the formal, action. Dan, excuse me, Bob, can you sign that, please, and we'll just pass it along?
The zero's just a placeholder, it's not like an
Yeah.
actual address.
Right,
Right.
There's probably 100 of them.
Yeah.
yeah, I know. It was confusing though.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just want to make sure,
Right.
thinking of it.
No, that's usually, that's a practice that they use.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just want to publicly thank Mr. Zagorowski and Mr. Pouliot for straightening out that confusion. It does get confusing when you're, even I said, what's 0, but,
Yeah.
you know,
Right,
thank you both.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Zero.
You don't, until you have a building, you don't get a number.
Okay.
Gary.
Have you signed this?
I'm sure the number is based on spot. For what?
They're giving 0 Memorial Drive now.
They're not
Once they
giving that.
build.
Everybody gets it. I authorize the chair to sign on my behalf.
Yes, yeah, well, I was gonna ask.
Like that parcel technically has no address.
Right.
That's the point. Like,
Thank you, Joel, I was gonna ask you that.
But for legal purposes.
Okay.
they are on the news.
Exactly.
All right, so, the folks, okay, what happened here was, again, as was explained through legal, that we're gonna postpone, this, action, this motion till February 23rd at the council chambers of City of Chicopee next month, all right? So we're sorry, gentlemen, but again, legally, everything has to be up to par, but thank you for your presentation.
I do have one question about that outstanding tax bill.
Yes, go ahead.
I'll contact the seller first thing in the morning to see what the status is, but is that the bill through the end of December 2021, or is that, what does that bill cover, do you know?
I'm looking at it right now. I believe, just taking a look at it, that this covered taxes, through last year. So in other words, it looks like it says, the interest date is January 10th, 2022. And we have our real estate tax bills twice a year in, the city of Chicopee. So it appears that, these are the two bills for, this past, tax year. All right,
And the
does that
number is
help?
9,216.08.
9,249, oh, I beg your pardon, hold on. There's also interest here, yes. $9,261.08, yes.
61, okay.
All right, so what you could do is, you could get in touch with the, assessor's office and the collector's office. I think they would probably the collector's office would probably be the better source here.
Okay,
But both of those entities would be able to help you, John.
all right, thank you.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, folks. that takes care of item number 1. All right, moving right along.
Dog license.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is, an application for a special permit under chapter 275, section 53B, subsection 14, for the purpose of having 4 dogs. We currently have 3. This is a kennel license located at 146 Clarendon Avenue. The applicant, is Scott and Lisa Hayden, 146 Clarendon Avenue, Chicopee, Mass. 01013. Are you here? Okay. Why don't you folks, come up to the microphone and, state your name and address and, just explain to us, what your proposal is, all right?
Okay, I'm Scott Hayden, 146 Clarendon Avenue, Chicopee, Mass.
I'm Lisa Hayden, 146 Clarendon Avenue, Chicopee, Mass.
Okay, all right,
And the purpose for this is that we had 3 dogs. A friend, our dogs had puppies and she needed a home for some of them. So we adopted one of those puppies and that brought us to 4, which means we need to have a kennel license. Though our intent with the other 3 we have one who is 15.
Mhm.
And God forbid, when that day comes, then we will go back to the 3 that we've had
okay,
all along. So it's, we wanted to do things the right way, and that meant getting the kennel.
okay, all right, okay, thank you. Can you tell us, for, our committee, what type of dogs these are by chance, the breeds of the dogs?
They're all mixed breeds.
Okay,
The one we got is a Siberian Husky, English Bulldog mix. Beautiful little guy with blue eyes. And
okay,
the other 3, we have one who's a Black Lab mix. Lexi, our oldest one, is a Corgi Golden Retriever.
mhm,
And Shyla is a Whippet.
okay.
To whip it.
Is
It's
that
like
it?
a smaller Italian Greyhound.
Okay.
Okay, okay, all right, thank you. So, let me just ask you a couple of quick questions before I open it up to the floor. So these dogs, your purpose, sir and ma'am, they would basically just be for pets but not for breeding? Is that,
Not
okay,
for breeding. In fact, all, our original 3 are all fixed, and the new guy will be soon.
okay, all right,
So no
okay.
breeding, no.
All right, thank you. Before I open it up to the committee, are there any neighbors or, that are nearby that may have questions or concerns? Okay, all right, I'll open up to the committee. Go ahead, Councilor Crochet.
Do you currently have a license, a kennel license?
Not yet, no.
Because reading the ordinance, at the 3rd dog, there should have been a kennel license. So whether you
At the
adopt
3rd
this
dog?
other one or not, you're gonna need a kennel license, so it's good that you're here.
Okay.
It's not 4, it's 3 and up.
No, it's 4 dogs.
4 dogs.
Oh, according to what I just read in here, it says 3 dogs or more. Kennel license is 3 or more dogs, so that means 3, not 4,
That's what it says right there.
right there. So, I mean, but it's good you're here, because now you can get it all squared away.
Yeah.
What kind of looking to?
Okay, all right. Other counselors?
I just thought of it.
Okay, go ahead, Councilor LeBrey.
Just, I believe there was no neighbor, complaints or no, questions. They talked to the neighbors before, they came to the meeting, and, I believe that nobody called the council office, and there was no, opposition to this. And they did say that they would go down to the 3. That might be wrong, Bill,
Yeah,
because we've always done, on the 4 dogs.
that's what I thought, and I saw that.
Yeah,
one.
I think that's wrong, but.
Okay,
Yeah, I know when we license our dogs, nobody's ever
that's true.
said anything.
Right, you
about
license them,
having
so that's
3.
not on you.
That's right.
Okay,
And we have a good sized fenced in yard.
I have a question.
I applaud you going to
Thanks,
the
Bill.
neighbors, most people don't, so good for you on that one.
okay, all right. Okay, Gary, you all set?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Okay, go ahead, Mary Beth.
Thank you, George. In my ward recently, we've had problems with people not leashing their dogs. Not having their dogs, in a fenced-in yard. As a matter of fact, I had a dog bite about 3 weeks ago, and then I had another incident where somebody else let their dog go out in the street, which was a danger to children and other dogs. Have you ever had any problems in regards to breaking the leash law, having problems with your dogs going around the neighborhood?
No,
No.
no.
So
I
you're
walk
good.
my dogs 3 to 4 times per day, on a leash, and then they have the fenced-in backyard, and they have never been loose.
Okay, good. So you're a good dog owner.
I like to think so.
Yeah, that's a nice thing. And it's very nice that you're helping your friend whose dog had a litter. So it's nice to have people like you come and do the right thing. Thank you.
Okay.
I just want to make it to the record that the planning recommends approval based on building and health departments confirming the property is adequate and appropriately maintained.
Right, and I was gonna read that into the record, but
Okay.
that's okay, but thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Yeah, I got one question. Lee,
Go ahead, Counselor.
does the kennel license require, right now in its present writings, 3 or 4 dogs?
I was just looking that up, I have to defer to council, because the zoning doesn't define the trigger. It just tells me that it's required under residential zoning. Sorry for the pressure, Dan.
No, I'll look it up, we've always interpreted since I've been here as 4 dogs or more. We've been allowed to have 3 dogs without a kennel.
Okay, I just wanted it cleared up so we have it in record that 3 is okay or 4 is okay. That's all I want to know.
Right,
Okay,
right.
thank
With
you.
4, okay? Are you all
Let us
set?
know, Dan, okay? Thank you.
Okay. Any, Counselor McAuliffe, do you have any questions?
All set.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Counselor.
Is it possible to, permit the kennel license, but with a stipulation that they do not breed?
Well, if that's the will of the committee, we could put that in as a condition, and perhaps also, an
Good
inspection by the health department if we don't have a report here, just to make sure that everything looks like it's in compliance with the city regs.
Yeah.
We could put that in, okay?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Good idea.
So, just for the record, the kennel license is of more than 3 dogs, 3 months old or ever owned or kept on a single premise, so it's
4, yeah.
more than 3.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for looking that up. That we were under the impression, but I know sometimes there's a snafu.
Okay.
Okay, all right, okay.
They mind
I
that?
would just like to read what reports we have here, okay? All right, this is from the Department of Planning, just read this into the record. Special permit recommendation for 146 Clarion Ave.
Did say it was
Council
like
Bellevue, property is zoned residential B, animal kennel licenses, this says 3 or more dogs, but it looks like it should be 4 or more dogs in residential A. Districts require special permit under chapter 75, section 53B, subsection 14. Applicant is looking to obtain a special permit for an animal kennel license for 4 pet dogs. Planning recommends approval based upon building and health departments confirming the property is adequate and appropriately maintained. And it looks like we don't have any other reports here. I just want to mention to the committee that basically what we've done sort of in the past is we could have the motion to approve with the condition that there is no breeding and that we also get a proper health inspection and also a building inspection of the property. If the committee is in agreement, I would make that recommendation.
And could we limit it to 4 dogs?
We could limit it to 4 dogs, right? Because in the event that there's, if you folks get back, and let's say if you get additional dogs, it's my understanding that then you would have to come back to the council for another special permit approval, if that happened. If, say, for example, you had another neighbor or somebody that couldn't maintain their dog and said, you know, we got some good folks down the street that we know they're good dog owners, and So you would have to come back if you started to get in excess of that, okay?
Motion to approve with the stipulation that there is no breeding and that there is a limit of 4 dogs.
Limit of 4 dogs, and then also just have.
The health department has.
And the health department, yep.
Building department, just make an inspection, just to check on the property, okay? Let me just write that up.
Are you folks agreeable to that?
Yes.
It's always cold in these places.
Not as much as downstairs.
Downstairs, it's worse. It is, it's cold. I told the mayor, I said, put some heat up in there. I said, I have to wear my top coat when I'm at a meeting.
Downstairs,
Cool in
floor
here.
heating, so you gotta turn on like at noon for 6 o'clock.
I know, and it's a big space with
Yeah,
tall
that's-
It
ceilings,
is.
almost impossible to heat, yeah.
I don't think it'd be-
To go backwards in the winter, yeah.
Might have been some limitations on that.
It probably wouldn't have been as aesthetically pleasing either,
No.
so.
Well, they do that in churches.
You know, when you sit
Yeah.
around,
Fans
make a
up in the
picture.
top, churches,
Oh, yeah, the fans,
cathedral, they have fans.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you just make them go the opposite way in the
Must be
winter.
something.
Okay. Right.
I'd just like to have a point of information. Mr. Balakir did suggest, in the email to us, in regards to this meeting, that we make site visits so we understand what we're voting on, and I appreciate that information. So we know what the area is and what we can visually,
Joel's name too.
see.
Excuse me, Councilor McAuliffe, would you be agreeable to what we're saying here?
Yes.
Okay, all right, we'll sign that as well, thank you. Councilor McAuliffe is on Zoom, so we need to check with him. Okay, Gary, thank you. Okay, all right. So if you folks just wait a minute, we're just.
Mayor Barty stole his pen.
I did? Oh, I'm sorry. All right,
I'll just steal his.
thank you. It's just that you got me all shook up about
He's
the
been
paperwork
borrowing- he's been
and the
borrowing
microphone.
For 6 years.
I was just trying to tell you, these were set so we could talk like 6 feet away, and downstairs they were set for 2 inches. These are super set.
Thank you.
Just to let you know, if you don't want anybody saying yours, but you gotta hold it when you talk.
All right, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Used to be that way.
Okay, the committee has voted, 7-0 for favorable, special permit application. And the motion is to approve the special permit for the purpose of having 4 dogs, a kennel license with the following conditions. Limit of 4 dogs, no breeding, inspection by the health and building departments. And, so they'll have to set that up with you. And, this will go before the full board, next Tuesday for a vote, which I believe is February 1st. All right? Okay, all right, thank you, folks. Oh, this should also be a permit to run with the applicant. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just make a correction for Mayor Order 1, because it has to do with our office. The mistake was not done by our office, it was done by the newspaper. So the newspaper is putting in a new one for no box. It wasn't done because of the city office.
Okay, all right, thank you for that clarification. Okay. Excuse me. Grab this. Okay, all right, next item on the list is item number 3, application for a special permit, under chapter 275, section 59, subsection C11, for the purpose of adding 3 new drive-up self-storage buildings, 2 20 by 50 feet and 2 10 by 100 feet to the existing 7 outside storage units located at 499 Montgomery Street. The applicant is UH Storage DE Limited, Jeff Nato, P.O. Box 29046, Phoenix, Arizona 85039. Okay. Jeff, are you on the Zoom call?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, sir. Could you state your name and address and what your proposal is for the committee this evening, please?
My name is Jeff Nato. I work for Amico Real Estate Company located at Union Street in West Springfield, Mass. I represent the property owner and also U-Haul, which has been a tenant of that property since 1984. U-Haul has operated an inside self-storage facility there, they said, since '84. And in 2004, with a special permit, added outside storage of 7 units. These are prefab units. They're just dropped down on the ground and hurricane anchored. This request is to add an additional 4 buildings there due to the growth of the storage business and the need by the local residents to have more storage. These are drive-up units that you can drive right up to and unload.
Okay, all right. Is there anybody in the audience or on Zoom that has some questions or issues if they're an abutter or a neighbor? All right. What I'd like to do then is, thanks, Jeff, I'd like to read a committee report, or excuse me, a departmental report into the record. And then I will have a couple people speak, and then we'll have some discussion on this, okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. This is from the Department of Planning and Development. This is a special permit recommendation for 499 Montgomery Street. And this is from Lee Poliat, our Director of Planning. Councilor Balakir, property located at 499 Montgomery Street, an existing U-Haul self-storage facility, is split zoned. A majority of the property is zoned Business B, while a small triangular area in the northeast corner is zoned Business A. The existing facility is legally non-conforming as it was constructed prior to self-storage facilities requiring a special permit in Business B districts. Applicant is requesting a special permit under Chapter 275, Section 59, subsection C11, to add additional storage units to the property. Planning recommends the request be rejected for the following reasons. New proposed units 715 through 724 are proposed within the Business A portion of the property. City Council cannot grant a special permit for storage under Business A districts. The zone change to Business B would first need to be granted for a special permit to be considered. New proposed units 700 through 724 seem to be located on the property line. Planning believes these units would need to be set back from the street lot line by 10 feet. Proposed units 800 through 809 and 900 through 909 are to be placed within on-site drive aisles and parking spaces. No analysis of parking requirements and confirmation that such requirements are met with this reduction has been provided. Additionally, planning is aware of a parking easement granted by UH Storage to the adjacent dentist office, which further reduces the available parking count on the property. Proposed units 800 through 809 and 900 through 909 would further restrict drive aisle and adequate access to the property for existing curb cuts on Montgomery Street. Planning will defer to engineering, police, and fire for public safety concerns. However, planning is not convinced that the added units would allow drive aisles to meet zoning regulations. If City Council were to grant a special permit for Business A portion of the property. Planner requests that the special permit be conditioned to require a SPRAC review of the entire property to ensure compliance with all zoning and site plan regulations. Okay? I think that was the only report we had, but we do have, Lee here. So Lee, would you like to shed some further light on that, please?
Sure, thank you, Counselor. The first thing I'd like to do is, give you these copies. We prepared the zoning map of the property, and then, we're able to pull up the, parking agreement with the, body vendors. My staff accidentally included them with my file.
Okay.
So those were for the committee.
Oh, yeah, the easement, correct? I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. I'm like, where is it?
I apologize.
Thank you.
Okay.
So yeah, just a little bit of additional context, based on the comments that,
Oh, thank you.
Counselor Val here, spread through from
Thank you.
our office. So this property is split zone, there's a small corner of it that continues behind the dentistry office, that is Unit A. The special permit that allows storage facilities, does not apply to business B district. It can only be granted in business C district, and from my understanding of the proposal, there will be a new set of storage units that will be located in the business A portion of the property. So without a zone change to first address that zoning issue, we wouldn't be able to special permit, those units in the business A section. And then the proposal for the locations within the business B district, I would defer to police and fire for particularly the public safety aspect. I would have hoped that they would have submitted comments, for those locations. But that links to my recommendation that this would need, a site plan review if the additional locations are approved to make sure that they have the necessary access to the property, with the additional units added.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Lee. Councilor Flynn.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to ask Lee, do you know if there's permits for these, already, there?
So some of the exterior units were added prior to special permits being required in business B district. I think maybe the applicant could clarify if some of the proposed units attached to this application have already been added to the property.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
So he's asking, from the plan, the application that he's asking applicant, the plan that he gave us, are some of these plans, the building's already up?
Jeff?
Yes,
Yeah, sorry. I think the question was, go ahead, Councilor Flynn.
Yes, in your proposal here, you have some, outlined in blue. Are those buildings already up?
yes, they are already up. They were put up by somebody else before we realized we need a special permit for them. So I'm trying to fix that now.
I'm sorry. I do have concerns because, I actually, out there, I got pictures of the whole thing, and I was amazed, that the city of Chicopee would allow this to be in the breakdown lane to get into these storage units.
Yeah, agreed.
Because, it's a safety hazard as well as a traffic issue for us. Those particular buildings,
went
I
to
agree
it.
with the
They're
planning
super
director. I think that we need to put this on hold, because you're building 704 to 714 and 715 to 724 are, abutting right along the, breakdown lane of, Granby Road. And, although I never saw nobody getting in, I actually went on the property today. On the other side, you can get in from the other side. There's two entrances, one from the back and one from the front. But I have concerns with that. I also have concerns where you want to, put these buildings. If you look, I believe another buildings on here are not on the, are already up already. So we're looking at things that are already been put in. So I believe that, we do need to get a SPRAC review on this whole thing and get this, what has been put up already, outlined a little better for the committee as well as myself so that we can understand it. Because some of them are up and some of them are more proposal. And I have concerns when you go around the back of the building and you come up to the other, 5 buildings on, I call them buildings, but storage units on the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6 units as you pull in on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
So, although I don't vote tonight, I'm gonna vote in the May meeting, to send this back to the planning board for a track review. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I have a question.
Go ahead, go ahead. You all set, Councilor Flam? Okay, go ahead, Mary Beth.
Yeah, Lee, is it common that people put buildings or units up before any approval?
Unfortunately, it's more common than we would like.
Okay. How can that be corrected, do you think?
If I can, the gentleman just made a comment earlier that these are, I believe they call hurricane, they're not bolted to the ground or concreted in. They're only bracketed in. If you look, I'll show you some pictures. They're only bracketed, so these can be moved. Which, I think, you know, the track review, we gotta think of the residents and anybody that's going to do that, use in the future. So, it's something that's not that bad, it doesn't have a foundation or nothing.
In order
Yeah, and
deny
to follow up on
motion
your
to approve
question,
and then vote against.
Counselor, I think the appropriate
Yeah,
action
probably
would
talk with
be,
council.
that the council has
We'll talk with
concerns
council.
that we refer to the building department, who's really, the building commissioner is the zoning enforcement officer, and the building commissioner would have the ability to act, if he or she felt that it was necessary to correct the situation, or that there was a violation of the zoning code.
Well, I appreciate that, because this is a very congested area.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're talking about even a roundabout or whatever going in there. So this is a heavily traveled area, there's a lot of lights and a lot of businesses. Thank
Right
you,
off the
Mr.
pipe.
Pouliot.
If I could, I'd like to make, I'm sorry, if I could, I'd like to make one correction. The
Yes, sir,
two,
go ahead, Jeff.
the 220x50s that face, Montgomery Street, those two are there. The 210x100s that we're asking for, on the back of the property are not on site yet. Only 2 of the 4 were added before we needed the permit. The other 7 were already pre-existing in 2004.
Okay. All right, thank you. Other councilors with questions before we defer to council? Councilor McAuliffe, you have any questions?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chairman, to Lee, how long have the unapproved units been placed on the property? Do we have any idea?
I'm not aware, Counselor, I think that question will be better directed to the applicant.
All right. Jeff, you know how long these units, the 220x50s, have been up on the property?
I believe those were placed in around May of this year, of 2021.
May of 2021. Okay.
And just to confirm, the units that are bordering or run parallel with Granbury Road, those are appropriately placed?
The unit to the left on Granbury Road is, was placed previously. And the one to the right of that and the one that's facing the property next door, formerly Leasco Incorporated, are not in place yet.
Okay, so Lee, can you just confirm that outside of the 2 that this gentleman indicated were previously placed, and that are on site, those are the only ones that are inappropriately placed?
Counselor, McCullough, I can't confirm that any of them are appropriately placed because I don't have a survey with the existing units and their setbacks. So I need to see a survey with the existing units and the setbacks to confirm whether or not they meet the regulation.
Okay. All right, Joel, are you all set?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, okay. All right. Sure, go ahead, Councilor.
So I just have, reading through, and we read it already, Lee, our planning director's recommendations, I think that there's a number of issues that I don't think we have enough information to approve this at all. After visiting the site as well, it's all very congested, and the fact that there are already units on there that were not approved is worrisome to me. The fact that there's no information on whether there will be enough parking spots, given this easement that they have with the other company, that's a problem. So I would like to ask, how do we move in case we decide not to approve it? Do we motion to approve and then all vote against it? Do we motion to not approve? I think that's probably a better question for our attorney.
Right. Yeah, thank you.
Completely up to the will of the board. I just would say that if you continue it, just just have to be mindful of the 90 days. But if you make a motion to approve, you vote against it. If the motion is denied, you vote for it. So whichever way the committee wants the motion, typically you vote for it, but then obviously vote opposed to the approval. Just make it a little simpler.
90 days to continue.
Okay, so that means, that way yes means yes and no means no.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes, I'm sorry, are you all set?
I am all set, thank
Okay,
you.
all right. Councilor Bree.
Through the chair, I'd just like to ask Mr. Wilmette, the, storage units that are on, Granby Road, I'm aware that you can get in them from both sides, but is it the same key and you do not allow access? Cause I think that was my understanding a few years ago when you put those up, that they cannot, get in through that, Granby Road, store. Is that correct?
Doors that face Granby Road are fake doors. They're there for display only. The units are only access from the parking lot.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
There's still the problem of the parking spaces.
all right, Gary, you all set?
I don't think it's good for any.
Okay. Other questions, councilors, before we talk to the attorney again?
Well, I want to hear what the attorney says before I make a comment.
Okay, all right. Okay, Dan, could you just give us a sidebar and just tell us what your recommendation is here, please?
So the committee has essentially a couple of choices. One is to postpone to get additional information from the applicant. If you do that, then obviously it would be just the motion to postpone to our February 23rd, 2022 meeting. Or if the council felt as though it's inappropriate, issue the special permit that it has enough information, you certainly can make a motion to approve it. Deny that approval, that'll go before the full board next Tuesday. And if it is denied, then the special permit applicant will not be able to come back to the city council for a period of 2 years unless there's a material change in circumstance. So that's certainly up to the will of the committee. Those two choices.
Okay, all right, thank you. Councilor Flam.
Thank you. I agree with, our planning director. I think we need to go through a complete truck review on this property.
Right.
And not that we're against it, but it's all over with our, Councilor Lopez, mentioned. We have a leak sticker, we have, fire department issues, we have drainage issues at that point. So, although we may not have nails, because they're off the ground, they're not getting into the ground. But, I just think a scrap review is necessary for this property, and that's the way I'm gonna go.
Okay, all right, thank you. Councilor, go ahead.
I look at this entire project, it's too confusing right now for us to make any kind of decision on it. And I agree with Mr. Laflamme when he says a SPRAC review, and Lee Pouliot says the same thing. I think they've been good people, they've been in business for many years up there. I don't want to lose any business, but I want it done right and safe.
Correct.
So I think a SPRAC review is the way to go. Now, Lee, how long does a SPRAC review take?
Once we receive plans, it typically takes us about 3 weeks to get them out to the relevant departments, get comments back, and generate a report that we can review.
Now, will the building inspector be involved in that also?
Building department is one of the reviewing departments.
Okay. I would make a recommendation that we, postpone it pending a SPRAC review, but I want to make sure that the building inspector is involved in this because of anyway, I've walked there, so I know what it's like, and it is confusing. I didn't know about the fake doors on Granby Road, though. I didn't know that, but I didn't try to open them up, so I didn't know, so.
Okay,
So I think a SPRAC review is the way to go for the safety of the public, for the city,
mm-hmm.
and for the owners of that property. I think that's the right way to go.
I think that's probably the right way to go.
Right.
Plus, we could also have like input from the fire department, building department, various departments, because there's a question about whether or not a truck could get in there if it's safe with the aisles and things of that nature. So,
So I have a comment.
go ahead, Council.
So if we move for a SPRAC review, I'm agreeable to that. I just want to note a couple of things that, first of all, it's really unacceptable for businesses to start putting up structures without coming to the board beforehand. That should not be happening. And B, when applications like this come in, that they really should be working hand in hand with the director of our planning department and making sure that they have everything they need, because there are a lot of missing pieces here, that would have made it much easier for us to make a decision, an informed decision, but now we are postponing, having to revisit this, and perhaps the spec review would have already happened had they spoken to Mr. Lee Pouliot to begin with.
Right.
And I just have a comment.
Sure, right, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Councilor Lopez, and
Thank you, Councilor. Go ahead.
my concern is that this type of behavior of putting buildings up or units up or whatever is done in other areas without the city knowing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how we can fix that, but that is disturbing. That behavior is not acceptable. And I agree with Councilor Lopez that something needs to be done in regards to how we can handle this particular business. We don't want to lose business,
Correct.
but in the same token, they were wrong to do what they did. Did they not know that they needed to come to the city for approval? I don't know. But it is disturbing that that happened.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. You all set? Okay, thank you.
One more question.
Mr. Chairman, I
Go
just
ahead.
had one more comment.
Go ahead, Counselor.
Let him go.
Thank you. Wanted to know if something like this does happen, do we have the ability to fine the property owner for doing things without, seeking approval? Because there's got to be something to dissuade people from doing this.
That's a good question. Let me bounce that off our attorney. Excuse me, Counsel?
The building department does have a vast number of tools that they can use, so obviously they'll be involved in this particular proposal.
Okay, all right, okay, thanks, Dan.
Is
You got that,
finding something that they have in that toolbox?
Potentially, yes.
Potentially, yes.
And at what
Okay.
point do we cross that threshold?
I'm assuming we're gonna refer this to building tomorrow morning.
Mm-hmm. And is there also potentially an ability from like the planning department for them to have to like go through a checklist or something and check in with the planning department before they even submit these applications so that we don't run into these issues again?
Yeah, typically they do. Typically if I'm a respectable builder, I know what I'm doing, I do go to the building department and I lay out my plan and explain that to the building department. I'm not exactly sure what happened here.
Yeah, the general process for anything like this would be for the special permit to be applied for first. And the council would receive sort of generic plans of what that would look like, so you can consider that. And then based on the scale of the project, after the special permit is granted, my staff would determine what level of site plan review would be triggered, if it's just draft, which is a departmental review, or if the project was large enough to require planning board review with a public hearing. And so in this case, we're kind of doing things in the backward motion. But yeah, the traditional process is to secure a special permit, develop your site plans, and go through the zoning required level of site plan.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Uh,
Go ahead,
Lee,
Counsel.
Talking about the SPRAC plan, are you saying that it's up to you to ask for a SPRAC plan from the developer at some point?
At some point. So in this particular world where we're talking about warehousing and storage, there is a requirement to secure a special permit for those projects, and the zoning code only allows them in business B districts.
Okay.
So before my staff would trigger any level of site plan review, which typically would include grading, stormwater management, building placement, a very detailed plan, we would guide an applicant to go through the special permit process first and secure that, because moving through site plan review without the special permit would be pointless. So based on the securing of a special permit, then my staff would look at the scale of the project and our zoning code, and there are various triggers for just a building permit, draft review, which is departmental review only, and then planning board review, which triggers a public hearing. Based on the project review, my staff and I would be able to make that determination, and then the applicant would follow whichever of those processes is triggered.
And typically that's before it's built.
And that's
Correct.
before it's built, yes.
So there's many projects that took place that doesn't need a SPRAC plan. You decide that, right?
Some plans, like, for example, a single-family home on a legal side lot only requires a building permit.
Right.
That larger projects will trigger a site plan review plus a public hearing with the planning board. And the zoning code details what the triggers are.
All right, so So I hope that within the future, then this has sparked some very much interest in this one particular project that I'm not saying make sure, but I'm sure you do your job, and if there needs to be a SPRAC plan, you will get it the way it should be. Is that on the, you know, when people ask for these permits and everything, the checkoff list? Is that on that list, SPRAC plan?
SPRAC plan is not on a building check.
Yeah.
On a building,
That's for a building permit.
for a building permit?
SPRAC plans are the next level overview up, but that's in our zoning code, it's online. And for any entity that's coming into the planning department, we would review that with them.
Well, I think this is gonna spark something amongst the zoning committee that we're really gonna look at these things in the future, even with yourself or whatever it's gotta be. All right, one other question. The fire department, and any of these U-Haul places that have these storage containers, have you had over the years any major problems or fire in any of these places?
Nothing that I'm aware of, no.
I'm asking the fire department.
Oh,
I don't really have any fires in them, but I know there's issues of people, sometimes trying to live in these things.
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard of that.
All kinds of hazardous, materials in there. I know, there was an issue with the guys who go around on scooters, illegal
Oh, yeah.
scooters and motorbikes,
Right.
they store them in these.
Right,
storage bins. Not Chicopee, there's, of course, like 10 of these motorcycles in one bin.
Is the fire department monitoring these in a way, what is it, a complaint or something? Is that how you go about it?
We don't inspect them on a regular basis.
Okay.
After though, we do.
If there is a complaint.
Look at
Okay.
the management company and ask them what their policies, and we have pretty strict policies on what can be stored and how much should be stored.
But it's like anything else, the owners of these containers are not always around, and these people store stuff in there, shouldn't be there. All right, you answered my question, thank you.
All right, thank you, Turnbull. Counselor, did you have a question?
Yes, just, so I can inform Joe, so the violation of the, those things is punishable by a fine of not more than $1,000 for any one offense.
Okay, all right.
Or code.
Great.
Okay.
I have one more comment if I can.
Go ahead, Counselor McAuliffe.
Thank you. I would say if we have the ability to fine, we certainly should make sure that we use that when this situations like this pop up, because I have heard in my experience this happening a number of times, and people taking advantage of the fact that we often choose not to fine and allow them to come before after the fact to seek approval when who knows how long they've been in violation. So that's something that we should really consider using when appropriate. The other question I have is, does this applicant and U-Haul in general have a history of any sorts of violations, or are they typically a business that is in good standing?
That's an interesting question. I'm not sure if, Lee, if you could shed any light on it, or Dan, if you might know of something in the city? Or Lee?
I'm not aware, I think that, the appropriate entity to follow up with that would be the building department.
Okay,
And they would have enforcement authority.
okay, all right, okay.
Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman, if possible, could we get some information from the building department on that?
I think we could. All right, thank you. Gary, go ahead.
Just a comment, one of the, U-Haul, the one on Montgomery Street, in Moraine, and I've had no, complaints from neighbors or, anything. I can remember maybe about, 8 or 9 years ago where they had some, vehicles there that were unregistered and they were, wrecked, and they rectified the situation immediately. So, I know they've been good neighbors, to the neighborhood.
All right,
Get back to you, asking if they have any problems, not that I'm aware of.
all right, that's good. Yeah, thank you, Counselor. Okay, all right, so, all right, I think we've had an interesting discussion here. So my understanding is, at least I'll bring this to the floor. It looks like we're heading in the direction of probably a motion to postpone until the February 23rd hearing, subject to a SPRAC review. Is that kind of the sentiment here at this point?
SPRAC review, as well as a full understanding of like the easement and the parking situation, as outlined by our planning director.
Yeah, that'll fall under SPRAC.
Okay,
Right,
perfect,
right,
thank you.
yeah, yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I wasn't sure if that particular piece would be part of the track review. Perfect, thank you.
The SPRAC review is very encompassing. It just, I think, just about every, with the ones that I have reviewed in the past, pretty much all the pertinent departments in the city have input in it. And it's quite a lengthy document, so it is encompassing.
Take about 4 to 5 weeks, I guess, for the SPRAC review.
He said about 3 weeks.
About 3 weeks, Lee?
Okay.
Yeah, two.
SPRAC review. Oh, once you
Okay.
receive it, okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so then getting back to my original thoughts, then.
So does he think that he'll have it by the 23rd? Because he has to wait 3 weeks post receiving the plan, and that's only 4 weeks from now. Is that enough time?
Should we ask
Is
Lee?
that, do you think,
What you're thinking on this, about the postponement, until the February 23rd meeting, subject to SPRAC review?
I'll certainly follow up with the applicant immediately, and it's gonna take some time to put together the required plan set, to SPRAC review, but I think it would be appropriate that I can at least provide an update in the February meeting as to where we are. in the
Okay,
process.
okay, thank you.
I just wanted to be mindful of your process.
Right, yeah, with the timeliness.
Exactly.
Okay, all right, thank you, Lee. Okay, all right. So we have a motion and a motion, to postpone.
Seems to be the trend today.
Okay. Another one we save.
You can take care of that, and you don't need to help you.
Behave.
Push your one.
I would just like to add to the record, when I started all these plans back in October and the applications, my first meeting was with Dennis Pelletier in the building department. And it was his direction as to what steps up the ladder to take to get to this point. A SPRAC review is the first time I've ever heard that term. I'm not even familiar with what it is.
Okay, all right. Lee, can you just, mention briefly to, the applicant what the SPRAC review entails, please?
Sure, so SPRAC review is, a departmental review of a plan set. The required components of the plan set are spelled out in the city's zoning code and its site plan regulations. And I'll be glad to review those with you, tomorrow. But typically it's an existing conditions plan, a proposed development plan, grading, drainage, any utility design that's required for the project, parking layout, access, driveways, public safety routes, parking, access to a building, and handicap parking is required, paving program. So a lot of this for a project like this will be existing conditions. Once we receive that plan set, we submit it to the reviewing department. Typically, those, departments typically include all of our utility departments, police, fire, building, health, planning, and a couple of others. And then we have a roundtable discussion, with the applicant, and if there's a design team, which, results in formal written comments submitted to the planning department. And then those comments are aggregated into a draft report, which in this case would be submitted to the city council for their consideration.
That honestly
All right,
doesn't sound
thank
to me like a process that's going to be finished in 4 weeks. I would love it to be, but hearing what you're saying and then you having 3 weeks to review it, I don't know of engineers that are sitting by the phone waiting for me to call to start this tomorrow morning.
So then in that case, do we want to postpone to the March meeting?
I think it's okay to keep it until February, and at least let me give you an update on where the
Okay,
process is.
okay, thank you.
But yeah, I'll reach out to Jeff immediately and we'll get the process started.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that kind of makes sense, if I could just interject, to get this moving, rather than push it out, say, for 2 months, because we also have some timing issues regarding the potential special permit in 90 days. So we have to kind of be mindful of that.
Lee, do you have his proper address, phone number, and who he is and everything else? Okay, all right, just want to make sure. Okay, thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Gary. Joel, are you still on the line?
Hey, I'm almost set.
Yes, yeah, we also signed you, as going along with this, and I'll read the motion after. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bar.
Where's the signature?
What's that?
It's right here, is this you?
No, I'm the one,
Zagorowski
one
said-
above.
Dude, you're really taking up that much space?
Zagorowski's long.
It's long, so big, you took up my line.
Who's the guy say, Robert Joseph?
Yes, he does spell the whole thing out. He's just like that.
I don't want Uncle Shane to forget me.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay. All right, thank you, okay.
Cheers, whatever.
The committee has signed, seven to nothing, in favor of a motion to postpone until the February 23rd, 2022 zoning subcommittee at City Hall, Council Chambers, Chicopee, subject to a SPRAC review of the entire property to ensure compliance with all zoning and site plan, requirements. All right? So, Jeff,
Yes, sir.
7:33.
you will have to get in touch, or actually, Lee, will you get in touch with Jeff?
Yeah, I'll get Jeff a call.
Okay, so Jeff, Lee will get in touch with you to get things started, to, get the SPRAC review and, all the details and what you need to do, all right?
Okay, sir, thank you.
Okay, all right, okay, thank you. Okay, all right. Okay, that was interesting. All right. Okay. All right, the next item on our agenda for this evening is, item number 4. This is, an application for a special permit under chapter, 275, section 58, subsection C, 4 and 5, for the purpose of an operation of a bar and restaurant on the first floor of a building, a single residential unit on the second floor, located at 729 to 733 Chicopee Street. The applicant is EBTD Inc., William Harvey, VP and Treasurer, 7 Pheasant Lane, South Hadley, Mass. 01075.
It's just
It looks like we have, attorney Tom Kenneth, representing the applicant.
That's correct.
Attorney Tom, okay,
That's correct. Can you hear me?
yes. Okay, sir. Could you, state your name and, your address and what the proposal this is the evening before the, committee, please?
Sure. My name's Attorney Thomas Kennefic. I practice law at 73 Chestnut Street in Springfield. I've been asked to represent an entity known as BBTD Inc. in its request for a special permit to run a restaurant and a bar located at 733 Chicopee Street. My client is purchasing the land and business that was previously known as Munsing Ridge Inc., DBA 733 Bar and Grill. That establishment has been operating since 2014. My client is not intending to make any changes in the manner or in method of the business, including no structural changes. It'll be run as a bar, restaurant like before.
Okay, all right, okay, thank you. Are there any, any abutters, next to?
I know that you said that it's been running.
You want to come up to the
Sure,
mic?
excuse me, ma'am, I'm sorry, why don't you come up to the microphone here and please state your name and address for the record, please? And, tell us what you'd like to say this evening, please.
My name is Tina Smith, and I live at 3 Margaret Street, which is right behind the bar,
Okay,
and I have the longest property line with the bar. The bar has been closed for the last 2 years
mm-hmm,
since the, epidemic, but it closed before, like a month before.
okay,
The reason why is because there's no room for a dumpster. So, I mean, they're gonna have to kind of solve that. If it was just bar, they could probably just a regular couple trash cans underneath the stairs for upstairs.
mm-hmm,
But for a restaurant, on a Friday, Saturday, you're gonna have a lot of trash and not enough room to put it.
okay,
Because, at the widest point, going underneath the stairs, it's probably like 72 inches. Because at one time, he changed the stairs, had them rebuilt. When they came straight down, access for the second, the emergency exit for the door,
Mm-hmm,
it was not wide enough.
okay.
They had to go back and re-stairs.
It's like three.
So, I mean, there is no room for a dumpster.
Okay,
Matter of fact, the tenant upstairs has his recycling can right in front of the exit. And then his trash can is right on the side of the building on the sidewalk. Not that I'm complaining about that, but it's how tight it is.
okay. Quick question for you. So, going into the past, you're saying this was a problem?
He, at one time, the guy who owned the bar before him, bought the property on Chicopee Street right next to the bar.
Okay,
Had his dumpster there. When his 5-year lease or whatever agreement was up, he chose not to buy that property.
mm-hmm,
The other guy went ahead and sold it. As a stopgap measure, he got a permit to put it in the parking lot across the street on 391.
right,
But there was issues with a lot of trash being dumped around it while it was locked up, and no one was in the bar. I don't know how the highway department and, the parks department solved that issue,
okay.
whether he had to take that, deal with it or what. But, that was done away with when the farmer's market opened in May, I think.
All right. Okay. All right, okay. All right, okay, we'll take that into consideration. Okay? All right, thank you, ma'am. Okay? All right, I would just like to read the reports first.
Comments first,
question
or-
for her. Do you have a question for her?
I'm sorry, do you have a question for the?
Yeah, I just had a question, to the attorney.
Okay. Yep.
This is, contingent, on, getting this license and, before you actually own it?
I'm having a little trouble hearing you, sir.
Okay.
Or
Is
it's coming through with an echo.
Okay. Is this deal contingent upon receiving, the, application, for the special permit?
Well, I think it's contingent upon getting a liquor license.
Yeah, liquor license, so right now, your client does not own the property.
No, I mean, this is the first in a series of steps, as I understand it, to consummate this transaction. I mean, the city ordinance of Chicopee has this particular procedure with which we're attempting to comply with. And if the city elects not to approve the special permit, then apparently the transaction might be in jeopardy.
Right, so it is contingent, that was my question. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. Go ahead, Councilor Crochet, before I read,
Through the chair, so as far as the underpass goes, that's Mass DOT, it has nothing to do with the city, even though we do sometimes clean it up, that is not our responsibility, just for the record, that's a Mass DOT property.
Yeah, it's the state.
Because it's underneath the highway. So,
Department takes care of that.
we do it as a courtesy to me as a ward counselor, but it is a Mass DOT state property, we have no jurisdiction underneath the highway. And I've been working on that for 2 years with him at DOT, but that's another story. So, I've actually had the conversations with the current owner. The owner, and this has been a bar twice before he even took it over. And there's been 0 complaints in the ward, about them. But I will say the person who's looking to purchase property, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, attorney, he actually owns about 8 bars. So this is a gentleman who's coming in knowing what he's doing in the bar industry, restaurant industry, and they're actually gonna kind of enhance the food a little more than it previously was. So you're gonna look at something more not geared towards nightclub bar. If I'm wrong, you can correct me again, attorney, but it's more towards bringing people in to enjoy a real night out dining, and they have the bar also. So it's gonna be a little bit of a different atmosphere, I think, than what was previously in the last 2 owners. So I'm looking forward to the new owners coming in and making them, making it something it probably hasn't been in 10 years.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think I think the folks that propose to undertake the operation, these folks are very experienced in the restaurant industry. They've been successful in a number of very legitimate upscale appropriate institutions, and I think they have every intention and desire to enhance the area where this location is cited.
Okay, all right, you all set, Counselor?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Counselor Lopez.
I just have two quick questions. First, so if that property under the highway is Mass DOT, which I was also aware of because I'm your neighbor ward, what happens in terms of trash, particularly if now we're having a restaurant and it's gonna be more upscale dining or, probably more trash,
Hopefully that changes the clientele, which also will eliminate that problem. You gotta figure who you're bringing in as your clientele. But, so I've been in contact with the DOT, they've given us permission, but I'm looking for us to obtain the right to the property, the jurisdiction to the property, which has been going on for over a year, almost 2 years now.
but by trash, I mean like overflow of trash from like a restaurant.
Well, we don't know it's from the restaurant. A lot of people park in there. There's a lot of things that go on underneath the underpass that have nothing to do with the bar.
No, I don't think maybe
So,
we're not understanding
yeah.
what my question is. So if there's no space to put a trash,
Well, we don't know that. That would come up under when the building department goes in and the health department comes in, so I don't know that yet. So,
that's your question as well,
yeah,
correct?
as far as, because they're across.
Okay,
the
so how
street.
can we find that answer is really my question then.
Well, I think-
That's,
Well, they won't get an occupancy license, I'm sure, unless there's a dumpster. The health department won't sign off on it.
well,
do we have anything from the health department in regards? Because in reading this, it
No.
doesn't
And
say
then,
anything
like
about.
I said,
I was gonna read the report, but I was gonna say, we could put that in as a stipulation,
Mhm.
if we so desire. We could put that as a condition. Hold on a second, ma'am. We'll let the counselor come forth and then final time. Go ahead.
Well, I am concerned that a restaurant that's gonna be upscale is not gonna have a dumpster. I mean, what I've been told by the abutter is that there's no dumpster, and I think that's concerning. And I don't see anything here in regards to what the health department has to say, because that is a health issue, and I appreciate your time here.
Correct.
You come down here and you let us know, hey, there's no dumpster.
Right.
It's just that the one who.
Excuse me, ma'am, go ahead. What, final time, just state your name and address, please, and that's your final time.
Okay, Tina Fluid, and I'm at 3 Margaret Street,
Yes.
and you said the trash, was it all the restaurant? No, it was people going by and just dumping it there because there was a dumpster.
Right, so that could be a problem. That could be a problem, because unfortunately, people create trash, but if they see an easy mark like a dumpster, they'll dump it there. So
Public health.
that can pose another issue. But, okay, ma'am, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Another question.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Thank you. I just, through you to the attorney, is whether or not a business having a dumpster, a valid reason to reject or to delay a special permit?
The question for the council is this an appropriate location for a bar and restaurant? If the council believes that it is, they'll go on to the second phase, which is to obtain a liquor license. Once they obtain that, then they go to the building department, and they have to seek and receive a CO. And as part of that review process, they do ensure that there's proper trash removal from the site.
All right.
That answers that.
Okay, so
that's
the question at hand for us is whether or not this is an appropriate location. And so based on the fact that this has been a bar and restaurant for as long as anyone can remember, I think the answer to that is yes.
Right. The building department will address the trash issue. They're required before they issue a certificate of occupancy to ensure that there's proper, disposal of any trash from the proposed business.
Okay.
I did have another question.
All right, Counselor, thank you for that edification. All right, Counselor McCullough, you all set?
All said, thank you.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
And then my other question was, I'm not sure if it was you or if it was the attorney who stated that the owners of this, the potential owners have other bars and restaurants. Are any of those also in Chicopee? And if not, where are
Yeah, I
they?
don't know the locations, I just had spoken with the seller, and he told me, I wanted to get some feedback on the potential buyer. And it was his, this is his industry, this is what he does.
Right,
This is
so
not his
what,
personal-
where are
I don't
they?
know where, I didn't ask where they were. That's why the attorney can correct me, is how many he owns,
Can we ask where they are?
but this
Are-
is he's not his bar, but
Can we ask?
Are you asking me?
Yes, go
If
ahead,
you
sir.
are,
If-
if you are, I don't know whether you have before you the application for a transfer of the license, but there are two sections. One of the active interest in licensees. One is they have a location in Agawam at Murphy's Pub. There's a location in Springfield at Patty's Irish Pub. There's a location in Springfield, the Irish Ale House. They've had previous ownership interests at the Daily Pint in Wilbraham, Patty's Irish Pub in Westfield, the Black Horse Tavern in Hamden, there's a couple in Amherst, and I think that from if you review their backgrounds, I think you're going to find that they've conducted the business without complaints and violations, and they're a very professional group that I think that I think could bring some credit to the city of Chicopee.
Thank you, Attorney Kennefick. That's exactly why I asked, because we don't have that information before us. And I think it is important to understand a little bit about the applicant as well. I've been familiar with 733 for as long as I've known. It's been there forever, and I don't have an issue with it becoming a restaurant, but it is important for us to understand a little bit about who's coming in and taking over this business.
Right.
So thank you for that.
And you're going to find that the folks that take over this business, if assuming that we're able to get through the steps, they're going to be on site 40 hours a week. They're professional full-time managers, and they know what they're doing. And as I think one of your your counsel to the committee and some of the other questions that were raised, as it goes through the vetting process, assuming that this passes, and then you get to you get before the licensing commission and the building, they're going to be addressing the issues of trash, and these folks are going to have answers for it.
Yeah, thank you. Given the recommendation of the attorney as well, of our attorney, the fact that the trash issue and all of that will be dealt with at another moment, I would motion to approve this.
I just have a question.
All right, one final question, and then I'm going
Thanks.
to read, I'm going to read the committee reports, we can decide.
I think the dumpster issue and the trash issue is paramount. And I can't understand why, under a special permit, why that hasn't been dealt with, that we have to deal with it later on. I don't know if we can do something about this, because you have a person here who's in a butter, who's a resident, is concerned about there's no dumpster. And I do think that for health reasons, that's a legitimate concern. And I'm a little uneasy, hold on, all right? I'm a little uneasy that we have to discuss the dumpster issue at a later date. I don't understand why we can't deal with that right now.
I might suggest.
Hold on, I think Mr. Pouliot is our city planner, who is a professional. I think he's going to address my question. Thank you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So whenever we're looking at a restaurant that may include alcohol on the menu, it's a multi-step process to permit those facilities. The first step is always a special permit through the city council, where Attorney Garber mentioned you're deciding whether or not it's an appropriate use of the property. And then the license commission, which oversees the liquor licenses, will make a determination as to whether or not the location is appropriate for a liquor license. As part of that review, the license commission will ask the planning board to also hold a public hearing and make a recommendation to them for the liquor license. If that steps happen, then, as Attorney Garvey said, then it boils down to the next staff level, which is building,
Right.
police and fire and health. And their health will do the inspection to make sure that the restaurant is running and meeting all health code regulations. The building is gonna ensure that all building code needs for a restaurant are being met as well. So it's not that you're not addressing it here, you're just relying on the appropriate staff members who have the authority to oversee those components to do it if and when all the approvals are granted for the establishment.
Okay.
And just to reiterate, at that phase, the public and the abutting resident can also come and give public input at that stage, correct?
There are public hearings, with the license, commission for the liquor license, and there will be public hearings for the recommendation that the planning board makes.
Thank you, Mr. Polio.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. I just wanted on the record that the abutter brought up the issue of the dumpster, and you explained why it's not being addressed at this time.
All right,
Thank you.
Okay, a couple more comments, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Okay, go ahead, Counselor.
Lee, looking at your special permit, letter we have, and he hasn't read it yet.
I was gonna read it.
Is there- Okay, I'm not gonna talk about the whole thing.
Okay.
Is there any design of the property and everything else that indicates that a dumpster could be put there? Even though our job here is the liquor and the restaurant part, that's it. I understand that.
Sure, I think, with this particular property, just some context, I just looked up our assessor's data on it. This building was built in 1910, and it pretty much takes up almost all the square footage of the lot. And you have a lot of these types of properties in the city because you have a lot of old development before we even have the zoning code. So is it challenging to figure out how to do it? Yes. Is it impossible? No. We've obviously had restaurants and bars running there in the past. But I think what's critical is that you have trust and faith in your building and health departments, that they know what their regulations are, and what needs to be followed, and that they'll work with the applicant to ensure that it's done in an appropriate manner.
That answers that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
Gary, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to point out, there is no operation of the bar or restaurant right now. For the last 2 years, as the resident said, the bar and restaurant has not been operated, so they're gonna address it as we go along. I don't think that bar is gonna just come back in and get their license and start running it before the sale. So that's why we're gonna have many opportunities, they might get the apple to make sure that, dumpster does happen, before they're opening it up there.
Okay.
All right, okay, good, thank you. Counselor Laflamme, you all set, Gary?
Yep.
Okay,
Yes, I agree with, Councilor, Costello. But, I do know that what we can do is also just say that, no, on our behalf, that, a resident, in case they don't make it, has concerns about the trash. And once that's in, that'll go to the building, and that'll be on, and so we can send from our report, we can have a administration just saying that if you're concerned, that we have somebody concerned about it, and pass it on to the building. As it was mentioned, they have to come in with the requirements of the building, trash with the health department, so that all goes through their report. So it's not that with our special permit position, it's just the permit of the building. But your concern is well taken on behalf of the resident. But I think we'll take that and send it to the building department, who will put that in the back of his mind and have that as part of his overview of the product, of the concern, to double check it.
Thank you,
all right,
Basically what I'm saying.
thank you.
Bring it to his attention.
okay, thank you. All right, then, I'd just like to read then, the committee report that we have from the building department, and read that into the record, and then we'll come up with a propose on this one, okay? A special permit recommendation for 729, 733 Chicopee Street. This is from the Department of Planning and Development, Councilor Balakir. Property is zoned Business A, eating and drinking places with the consumption of alcohol in Business A districts require a special permit under Chapter 275, Section 58, subsection C4. Applicant is looking to obtain a liquor all alcohol license for the consumption of alcohol for an existing establishment as new owners. This requires a new special permit under Chapter 275, Section 58, subsection C4 for the new owners. Up to 4 residential units in a business building within a business A district require a special permit under chapter 275, section 58, subsection C5. Applicant is looking to obtain a special permit for one residential unit. Planning sees no issues with the proposed special permit outside of confirming with the building and fire that all building codes and life safety requirements are met with the property's current layout and unit count. And planning recommends approval of the special permit. I don't think I have any other reports here. I think this is it. So, my thinking is this, that we could approve this subject to, being in compliance with the building and, fire codes, for the, city.
Yeah, which I think is automatic anyways, but we can reiterate it if you
Yeah,
want.
we'll reiterate this, and then what will happen, that has been referenced here, as this goes through the vetting process, that what will happen is, other eyes and other departments will get involved with this. So, that's my sense, and unless somebody has something that's, against that, okay? All right, so.
Hoping that this all goes through nice and smoothly so we can enjoy a new restaurant in my
Mhm.
neighboring ward.
No, I can tell you, the chef's already working on the menu.
We like options.
Yep, they're excited.
They can't, they don't take the dumpster. They still put a dumpster in the property over there.
What they-
What were they putting in years ago?
They've never ever an issue, so I don't know. No, only just generalized trash, but that's people. I don't know. I do know TV cleans up that much a lot. 733 would go over and clean up the mess. Like Tuesday, they'll hunt their trash.
But I can't you say that?
Actually. This is another topic. No, nothing.
Hey, George, it's Fred Krampus. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know you mentioned about Councilor Flam being there during the meeting, and I just wanted to make sure the meeting minutes reflected that I was also on Zoom watching and listening to the meeting. So just wanted to make sure that was in the record, please.
Oh, okay. All right, Fred. All right, sorry. Okay,
Duly
thank
noted.
you.
That's
Duly
okay.
noted.
Thanks.
And,
That'll get you to the blue door. The one
The middle one's for
Hop over the thing.
I did. I jumped over. I killed myself. I don't think you want to jump over.
It was like 45 years ago.
Behave, gentlemen.
He doesn't know how.
You'll get, she's gotta sit
You
next
got
to
a hot mic. Behave.
the mute doesn't work.
That's right, be careful.
If you go like this, you press
All
the
right,
hold.
George, sign that. Hey, Joel, sign it.
Joel, you okay with this?
Joel, you okay with signing off on this?
Yes, I'm okay with the committee's decisions unless I object.
Okay, all right, thank you. We'll read it at the end and everybody's just gonna sign it. So, yeah, Counselor Tom, just hold on a minute. We're just, signing, your, a motion and, just give us 2 more minutes, please. Thanks.
Pass it this way first so that they don't take up all the space.
Yeah, you can do it
She
first.
ruined it.
Yeah.
He had something special for you.
And I have 4 names.
Take up all the
Right?
space you want, Mary Beth.
Yeah, that's my nickname.
What's the real name?
Mary Beth Elizabeth.
I know it.
Yeah, Costello.
Thanks.
That's actually 5 names, technically.
Oh,
We
yeah.
really want to get
That's my nickname.
I can sign his name.
Okay.
He writes letters.
There you go.
Want me to make it small?
Yeah, well,
We got a business to take care of. There's no room.
Well, you know who to blame for that.
Mr. Zagorowski.
Mr. Zagorowski.
I have one letter in my
I
name, the
wrote
rest is.
small this time, see? See how small?
Good job. We're really proud of you.
Okay, all right, folks, committee's voted, 7-0. This is a motion to approve the special permit for the purpose of operation of a bar and restaurant on the first floor and a single residential unit subject to be in compliance with the building and fire code regulations of the city of Chicopee. This is a permit to run with the applicant, and this will go before the full board on Tuesday, February 1st, Councilor Tom, all right?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. You still there, Tom?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, all right, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Okay.
The way you said that.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Okay.
Hey.
We're almost there, we're almost there.
Next item, item number 5, we're getting there.
And no
Okay.
public input this time, so we're getting there.
Okay.
Oh, never mind.
This is an application for a special permit under chapter 275, section 9, subsection L3, for the purpose of renewal of an existing special permit under the mill conversion and commercial overlay district located at 165 Front Street. The applicant is 4 Perkins LLC, CO Silver Brick, Aaron Popowitz, 1688 Meridian Avenue, Miami Beach, Florida, 33139. Aaron, would you still be on the line?
Hi, yes, I'm here. Aaron Papowitz, 1688 Meridian Ave, Miami Beach, Florida, 33139.
Okay.
The weather like.
How's the weather tonight?
We don't want to know, actually. It's a rhetorical question.
Blizzard coming.
No, that's not true. Maybe you could send up some warm weather. That'll help us here. Okay.
Will do.
All right. Okay, Aaron, this is kind of a continuation of the meeting we had last year, but, can you, shed some light as to, what's going on with, the property just down the street from us, please?
Yes, so Fire and Building sent us a notice, which was very helpful to see it in writing. Unfortunately, we only got it on Monday, and we just, have started to review it now. So my suggestion would be to just continue this, which would allow us time to have a meeting with Fire and Building and Planning, just to make sure that, we fully understand what's being asked of us, and, and then we can come to a consensus on what, a reasonable plan is to go forward.
Okay, all right. Okay, Aaron, I would just like to read this into the record. So there's a true meeting of the minds here of what we're proposing and what you folks need to do in order to make this a viable project, all right? So, I'm just gonna shed some light on this, and then we're gonna also get some input from Fire and also from, Planning, okay? So let me just read this into the record, please. This is dated, January 19th, 2022. This is to, Joshua Lasso, Regional Director of Facilities, Silverbrick Group, regarding safety concerns of 165 Front Street, Chicopee, Mass. Testing and certification of the sprinkler system for Building 2 and 3. Code review of the means of egress requirements of Building 2. Fire alarm system design for Building 2 and 3. Interim steps for Silverbrick to follow as noted to them in December of 2021. Notice, number 1, submit a report by a fire sprinkler company that can certify that the existing standpipes and fire sprinkler system is in proper working order, that has been physically tested and in compliance. This is regarding NFPA 25, section 1.1, 1.1. The inspection, testing, and maintenance required by the standard and the NFPA 72 shall be coordinated so that the system operates as intended. Second request, number 2, submit a code review of the means of egress requirements for building 2. The building is currently partially occupied on every floor to some extent as of this writing. The fire escape on building 2 is currently barred on every floor, including the ground floor, and is in disrepair and has not been inspected to my knowledge as required for 780 CMR section 1001.32. Further, 1001.32 testing and certification. All exterior bridges, steel or wooden stairways, fire escapes, and egress balconies shall be examined and or tested and certified for structural adequacy and safety every 5 years by a registered design professional or others qualified and acceptable to the building official. Said professional or others shall then submit an affidavit to the building official. Number 3, the fire alarm system design in building 2 and 3 needs to be submitted per NFPA 72 and Chicopee Fire Department. Number 4, the above items are required to be done by March 1st, 2022. If these items are not done or have been made significant enough progress according to the building and or fire department heads by March 1st, 2022, we will be forced to take further action in order to ensure the safety of the building occupants, which could include but not be limited to fines, legal action, or condemning the building. And we also have some other requirements on the back page. Just bear with me, I'm going to turn this over. Number 5, reminder in the interim until the above items are listed or addressed, Number 1, Silverbrick shall forthwith limit business hours of activity to 0800 to 1900 hours for existing businessmen that possess a valid occupation certificate. Number 2, cease and desist order shall be issued by the building department to all tenants in possession of a valid certificate of occupancy. The landlord shall require all tenants to immediately cease operation until a valid certificate of occupancy is secured by the city of Chicopee. Number 3, the landlord shall commence eviction proceedings against those tenants who do not possess a valid certificate of occupancy. Number 4, the interior fire watch shall forthwith be increased to 2 people. Number 5, existing tenants that have a certificate of occupancy shall forthwith have local battery-operated smoke/CO detectors placed within their spaces. Number 6, Silverbrick shall have its engineering firm evaluate and submit an NFPA 72 report within 30 days for the common areas. Number 7, the next due NFPA 25 reports to be submitted by March 1st, 2022. And this is signed by Frank Boron, Assistant Building Commissioner, and Daniel Stemborski, Fire Chief. Okay. We have, representing the fire department, we have Captain Kernberg. Captain, would you like to say anything further at this point, or ask Aaron any further questions? Go ahead, sir.
Just to give an update, so I did meet with Josh Rosalo, on the other, I know it was on Monday, we took a tour of the, mills. So 7 points on the back, the hours are posted, the hours, as well as non-smoking signs, smoking signs are throughout the building. Number 4, he said that the fire watch will be increased by next week, 2 people. And number 5, he also mentioned that the detectors are in, they've received the detectors, they haven't installed them yet, but they'll be installed in the next week or so, with current tech. The question, I think, for Mr. Pavlovich, Josh did say that on December 30th, I think, it was C3, which is an engineering firm out of Boston, I believe. They came out and toured the building as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, does that generate any kind of report that you can share with the building and fire departments?
I don't know if that report is ready or not. But I think that's a good one to review, whenever we, get together, and just go item by item and just make sure we're on the same page with everything.
Yeah, that would be good. We'd like to see that report for sure. And I know, number 2 on the front page is second request. I think, someone did come out and look at the, sort of like, had like an engineer, I think, come out and look at the fire escape. But I think the building department has, is challenging that. I think they want to have like a peer review of that, his opinion, because they think they're not in agreement with it. Okay. I think that's all I have. Okay. All right, Captain. Okay, thank you. I don't see Frankie Boron here, so, Lee, do you want to, get involved? Do you want to ask him some questions and make some comments, please?
No, I understand that, the Silver team has received a letter from, Building and Fire, and I think the next important step is, for our team, to meet with Aaron's team and review, those requests and, get moving on them as quickly as possible.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Dan, could you just give a quick legal overview, please? Just, kind of bring us up to speed, and I think the understanding is we're probably going to be looking for a continuance, regarding this process, but if you could just shed, some light on that, please. Thank you.
Sure, so these 2 special permit requests were heard and were granted by the city council back in 2019. And as part of our ordinance and state statutes, if you do not substantially use those special permits, they lapse. So this is actually a second time around. So they did submit their request to us last year, as you all are aware. We did have a meeting last, I believe, December or potentially November. And at that meeting, we did promise to get in that letter as to what it is that the, city was looking for in order for us to proceed to an actual vote or consideration of the 2 special permit requests. As I think I can say that we did send that letter to them. I know that they received it, and I'm sure they work closely with our fire and police department, fire, police, and building. And lastly, you may recall, they did ask for, and we did grant at the last meeting in December, a 120-day extension.
Correct.
So we are within the time parameters. So if the council did see fit to continue to our February meeting, we're certainly within the time parameters, because again, they did request and we did grant a 120-day extension on that 90-day time frame.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. All right, I'll open up to a couple of counselors, and, go ahead, Mary Beth.
Yeah, I did some research on on this particular, group of people that have, done some work in regards to, redeveloping different areas, whether it's in Chicopee or Springfield.
Are you referring to Silverbrick?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
What I did find, and I saw an article recently, well-written article, an informative article by Jeanette DeForge, indicating that there were violations found. I think this was about 23 days ago, the article appeared on Mass Live. And 57 days ago, I found that someone indicated through Silverbrook that this may no longer be viable due to rising construction costs. Then I did find another article indicating back in January 2019, there was substandard materials in a project done by Silverbrook. And then also Mayor Sano indicated at some point in a Silverbrick construction that there was shoddy materials. And as a follow-up to that, Mayor Koss indicated back in January 2019, January 29, 2019, that the Silverbrick Cabottville project deserves scrutiny following the Springfield violations of an unlicensed plumber and plumbers and substandard materials. So I'm a little concerned about that. When I do anything with zoning, I like to make visits, understand what's going on in that particular zone. and then also to do any type of research. So based on this, this is not a good track history here. And now we're going to have to look at this special permit, and this is their second time, and safety concerns have been raised. So I am concerned about that. So based on my concern, where do we go from here? And I don't want to get off on what happened to an apartment complex on January 9th, 2022 in New York, okay, where there were 17 people died, and 7 of those were children. And things just weren't done right according to what things have been reported. So I want to make sure there's safety here, safety for the residents that would be renting there, because there's 600 units, and safety for our fire department that would be going in there if there were any problems.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Lopez, did you have some comments or concerns?
I did. I would also agree with you that we should postpone this. I have received a lot of personal messages about this facility from current business owners that are in that facility, current issues that they've had in the facility, and I think it would be good to postpone so that they can also come for public input and get notice. I would happily reach out to them myself and let them know this is a good moment for them to come and speak about it, because I do agree with Mayor Beth that there are some concerns, some valid concerns, and that I don't think we have all of the information in front of us right now to grant a special permit.
Okay, all right, thank you. Councilor Bree?
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment. I mean, we knew about, Silverbrook's, problems, in the past. And, I think it's in the city's best interest to, grant this continuance, whether this developer develops this property or another developer is going to develop it. We have to keep it open. This is, something that's brought open downtown. And, we don't want to, in my opinion, not approve it. And, we want to give them every opportunity to straighten it out, whether he intends to develop it or somebody else, then develop it down the future. So, obviously, I'm for it.
Okay, all right, okay, thank you. Other councilors' comments?
How much of a continuance we giving them now? We're going to give them?
What did you do? 120 days.
Well,
Just wanna
it's 120 days,
I know
correct,
that,
Ed?
yes.
From our last meeting, right?
From our last meeting.
So we only have,
So which meeting would this be discussed on for us? Which zoning meeting?
That should have been from the December,
That was the December meeting, so we have until
December what?
probably April to figure it out.
okay.
But if we continue it to our next meeting, we're well within 120 days, so we'll just get a grasp as to what actions they've taken based on the letter that was sent by the city.
And I think that's a good idea in case we need to continue it again. We have room.
Well, correct, right, because by having this letter, we have a meeting of the minds between the city and also with the developer as to exactly what he needs to have done in
Yep.
order to build this property so it'll be up to code,
Yeah.
okay?
And then also with public input potentially coming in, there might even be more issues raised, so that gives us time, like
There could be, okay?
That date, December 21st,
23rd.
23rd, okay.
No, February 23rd is
Well, February 23rd,
No.
it
the
would be
continuance.
supposedly
Oh, I know that part,
continuance.
but it was since December what?
Oh,
Actually, 15th, 18th.
if you give me a minute.
What was that, December what, Dan?
December 15th,
December 15th.
December
Okay,
15th.
all right. Then we're going to
2021,
To February
last year.
23rd, okay.
okay?
Okay.
That would have
All
been,
right,
that
okay.
would have been the last meeting.
All right.
Counselor McAuliffe, do you have some questions or comments at this point?
All set, thank you.
Okay, all right. Okay then, folks, I think probably, I think the issue on the floor is to grant the continuance until the February 23rd zoning meeting with the hope that we will have more progress made, and so that the fire department and building department and or planning will have a better understanding, as will we, as to what's going on. Okay, Councilor
I
Zagorowski?
believe the fire department, building department are working on all this stuff, right?
They've already addressed
Captain?
several issues.
They've already addressed some of the issues.
Correct.
So I make a motion, we postpone it, whatever the necessary date is, February twenty-third.
Right, 23rd. Right, that's the motion that we're gonna have at this
Okay.
point. Okay. All right.
It'd be same thing for item 6, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm gonna be a no on that.
You don't wanna continue?
No, I'm gonna be a no.
Yeah.
What would you prefer to deny it?
I would,
Yeah.
at this point, yeah, but,
Okay.
you know, the rest will, no. It's
I mean,
too risky. I did a lot of research.
I would also deny basis. I've also done research and also I've gotten a ton of public input, but my concern with denying, well, this is not even also denying, my concern, it doesn't work. My concern with denying it is that in terms of like business district, that's not the best move. That's my only concern. I would prefer for them to just act right, you know?
Right. With that, we gotta
Oh, no,
hold them.
Absolutely. I think also once the continuance comes along, if they're still not doing it right, then we deny it.
Right. Well, you're gonna have one vote already for a no to hold them accountable.
So everyone's aware you're on a live mic.
Chicopee City Hall. Council
Thank you.
chambers. Okay. Continue the application.
Octopus.
Okay, Gary. Joel, will you be inclined to go along with the proposal for the continuance at this point?
Yes.
Okay, all right, I'll have Gary sign it. Thank you. All right, thank you. This way here. Two of those, right? We'll read the formal one for item number 6, I think it is.
So Mary Beth is voting against it. Does she not sign? Is that just how it goes?
No, she's unfavorable.
Oh, okay.
She's not, if she's not in favor,
Okay.
she can sign against or
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, Mary Beth, so I'm inclined to join you. But I'm also inclined to hear them out. I'm gonna hear them out, and if it's not favorable in the next meeting, then, exactly.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, the committee has voted 6-1. This is a motion to postpone, to continue the application for special permit to the February 23rd, 2022 zoning subcommittee meeting at Chicopee City Hall Council Chambers. And this will be going before the full board on Tuesday, February 1st. All right, okay? And the next one is similar. I'll just read that into the record. Okay, this should be item number 6. Application for a special permit under chapter 275, section 9, subsection L3 for the purpose of renewal of an existing storage special permit under the mill conversion and commercial overlay district located at 165 Front Street. And the applicant is 4 Perkins LLC, CO Silverbrick, Aaron Popowitz, 1688 Meridian Avenue, Miami Beach, Florida, 33139. Aaron, this looks like this is pretty much the same proposal, unless there's something I'm missing. Am I correct with that?
You're correct.
Okay, all right. Excuse me, Dan, do I have to read this letter again into the record?
No.
Okay, all right.
Reading it in the first one is fine.
Okay, all right,
Mo-
okay.
Motion to move with the same course, Mr. President.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I think that's what we'll just do as well at this point. So we're gonna put the same verbiage, or pretty much it's gonna be mirror image. Okay, motion to put Um,
Tell Marina, I got some information for you, so wait for me.
Okay, Gary. Joel, are we going to, go along with the same proposal with item number
Yes.
6?
Yes.
For the motion to postpone to continue the application. Okay, all right, thank you.
Use your pen to sign it. Just gave
I'm
my,
gonna, I'm gonna be a no on this.
you can still sign it the same way.
Yeah, I know.
We're no longer letting Zagorowski go first.
Listen, I find
Thank
that
you,
up-
Gary.
I find that offensive.
Thank you.
No, you're going last.
Yeah, I don't
buddy,
have
you're
to,
going last.
I don't have to
We're
worry.
gonna have plenty of space this time. We have enough.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, the committee, has, voted, and, this is, 6 in favor and 1 unfavorable. This is motion to postpone the, continue the application for special permit until February 23rd, 2022, zoning subcommittee meeting at Chicopee City Hall Council Chambers. And this will go before the, full board on Tuesday, February 1st, all right? Okay, Aaron, thank you.
Thank you.
And I know that you'll be working with the city regarding the letter that was sent to you as well. Thanks. Okay,
Correct.
all right. Okay, then, motion to accept the minutes
Motion to accept the minutes
of,
of,
December
December
15th,
15th.
2021. All in
Right.
favor?
Motion.
Aye.
Abstain.
And-
You have to abstain. We were
Yeah,
here.
right, we weren't
Oh,
here.
So you
okay,
can't make the motion and we can't vote on it.
All
So it
right.
has to be Zagorowski's motion, we're abstaining.
All right, I'll second it.
All right,
Yeah, thank you.
okay, all right, okay, all right. Okay, and, I think
Motion to
it's-
adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
You're welcome.
okay.
Yeah, well, 8:02 for the normal.